Electech, some of you will know about. You may have known it as ESCO. You may have known it even before that. It actually started as an association of electronics trade associations coming together in 2009. Government asked in 2012 to create a report about the government, the significance of electronics to the UK, because they didn't know. And it was an honest question, and it was great that at last the government wanted to know, because they really did know very little about electronics. The result of that was the ESCO report. ESCO is Electronic Systems Challenges and Opportunities. And it had a follow-up report in 2014. That actually was very powerful because it created something that government could actually look at. It had a set of recommendations. It identified people. But also the ESCO activity also got some of our top senior executives talking to government. And this was something that wasn't happening. And you've seen over the last few years having government ministers here at Techworks. That's one of the legacies of coming out of what started here, is now the government is talking to the sector, is recognising it. Following the publication of this report, and we got a lot of very key people and a lot of trade organisations all in one room and sort of agreeing at times, we tried to continue the momentum after that, and I came in after Imagination to try and progress that. And one of the things I found was we talked about electronic systems all the time, which everyone in this room has a view about. People in the street, by and large, didn't understand systems, and electronics is frankly an intimidating word. So we changed it to Electech, and the reason why is to have a word that a minister could drop into a soundbite, and which is a word you could say to anyone in the street, and they would have a view in the same way they know what fintech is, or agritech, or medtech. And try it with your partner, with your friends that you know, give you all of the ribbing about being an engineer and all the rest of it. Try the word Electech and see what they say. They'll give you something, and it doesn't matter whether it's about electronics or electric vehicles or how much they hate their battery life doesn't work. It doesn't matter. You'll get something back. It forms something that everyone can engage with. That's why we've come up with the term Electech. So that was good, and when the industry was talking, but frankly the momentum was starting to slow. We published the ESCO report back in 2013, and its update. And one of the things we did is we scoped the industry. And this exercise was done in conjunction with what was then BIS, Department of Business Innovation Skills, now BASE. And this data continued to be updated through 2017. You can get all of this data on the Electech website. And it showed that, in fact, Electech-related companies generated at that time 80 billion, actually went up to 100 billion pounds in revenue annually. These are companies that are either their primary product is around Electech, not just designing and manufacturing, but services and everything around, or has a significant component of it. It covers 45,000 businesses and around 1 million people. It is significant to the UK. And we've taken all of this, particularly to BASE and Department for Trade and so on, and they said, yes, that's good. And they continue to support us with that data. So this is recognised official data. But one of the things we really learned from running ESCO and later the Electech Council is just how fragmented this industry is. It amazed me every time I heard from someone who said, but you're not talking about photonics, you're not talking about this part of sensors. Power is, in fact, you know, the power for electric vehicles is very different to the power for infrastructure, and on it goes. Every time you look, there's another part, and each one ends up having an association of people and a group of companies, and none of them talk to each other. And this isn't just in terms of design skills, and this is beyond semis, there's a heartbeat here, but also things like motors, for example, and PCBs, lots of stuff around. Then in all the different markets, and these are just some of the obvious ones, there's a lot more than these, and the supply chains. Each bullet on here is associated with a community and with a group of companies trading, usually internationally, sometimes, or heavily involved in the UK supply chains. It's incredibly complicated. That's the problem. And as a result, trying to put it under one umbrella and saying, everybody, get in a room and talk together, nice idea, doesn't work. But But since the ESCO report has been published, some very important things have happened. A number of initiatives have emerged. The industrial strategy from the UK government has been very powerful in giving us a language to talk to government in terms they are comfortable with and ministers are comfortable with. There's also been a lot of initiatives, some coming from the strategy, like the Made Smarter initiative, brought all the manufacturing community together in a unique way, an incredibly powerful group of people to galvanise how the manufacturing industry can be revitalised in the UK, resulting in the Made Smarter initiative. A number of relationships with European engineering organisations, Eurus and Orgelheim are two of those, where the trade bodies were getting involved in that and getting a stronger voice for the UK across Europe. And in the UK, another initiative, Each Home Counts, is an example. It has a significant Electech involvement, but it's actually just simply making each home more efficient by simple, basic stuff. And it's everything from insulation to smart heating and so on and so forth. All of these have Electech at their roots. So there's a lot that's happened. So I'm pretty proud of what the Electech Council's achieved and the engagement across all this industry. We've built a broader appeal. I think the Electech term is working well. We've broadened the scope. It's beyond, a bunch of us, any people that know me will know I'm a semi guy through and through. Engaging beyond those industries, just within the electronics community, let alone broader, has been very important. We've tried to explore that. But one of the key things we did is we said, well, when talking to at Innovate UK, and they said, well, really, the first thing you need is a roadmap. What is this Electech roadmap? Where's everything going? So we tried to tackle that, and I'm incredibly grateful to Innovate UK to recognise what we were saying and funded a series of workshops. And a number of people, including some in this room, participated in a series of workshops. It was run by the Cambridge Institute for Management, who are very disciplined in a methodology for creating roadmaps. And the result was the Electech report. It's outside. It looks like this. If you haven't grabbed one, please go and grab one, because it's very important for our industry. This is the first time we have captured all of the different parts of the Electech world across digital analog, photonics, sensors, manufacturing, infrastructure, all sorts of things, and tried to put them all in one place. But crucially, we're mapping it to the industrial sectors, because the government and most people out there don't understand in terms of technologies. That's a horizontal. Our story is Electech is everywhere. It influences every major sector. And everyone said, yep, that's true. But it's too broad a story. People relate to industry sectors. So you'll see the key part of this document is the back bit. It's the sector reviews. And the idea is that people that understand nothing about our industry, from automotive to agriculture to medicine, and health and so on, have a reference, a starting point for being able to engage with us as an industry. So this is a kickoff point, this document. So as far as I'm concerned, the original agenda of the whole ESCO Council, the Electech Council, and what was created, frankly, has come to an end. We published a government report, they acknowledged it, we've got a roadmap for the industry and acknowledged it, but so much has changed. The industry now, compared to even 5 years ago, is so different. We need to change our thinking, and we need to think big. And yes, we've got Brexit involved in all of that, but we're in we're in an international business, and I think a number of people have mentioned today, you just got to work and get on with it beyond that. So we need to look at a new agenda, and that agenda is, call it really original here, Electech 2. But it's all about acting on the recommendations of the report, but also coming up with a new agenda where if we're going to get senior executives involved, we've got to actually deliver real value. And that value has to come from doing things that really matter to business to justify the use of their time. People will only turn up in a meeting room to talk about big industry issues if it's worth their while. Otherwise, they will very quickly leave. So we need to come up with a new deal that gets this industry and the senior executives involved in a meaningful way. And so, for example, addressing things like skills. Every single person we've talked to said skills is the #1 issue for this industry. So does everyone else in every other industry sector. As again, the government told us, yes, it's important. Yes, it's important to everyone. So we need to do things for ourselves as an industry in doing that. And we also need to find ways of leveraging what we've got as an industry and the collection in this room to create greater value and create new business opportunities. This now needs to create new opportunities for our businesses to engage with industry sectors. And so what we're doing is we're moving to Electech 2.0, and we're going to make it a community within Techworks, because as we were developing the later stages of ESCO, it became more and more apparent this was intersecting with the growing and broader agenda of Techworks. As you may well remember, the transition from NMI to Techworks partly involved deep tech, involved expanding the reach, and you've seen this afternoon some excellent presentations explaining how Techworks is expanding to a broader and broader number of communities. And that's engaging with that fragmentation. But we now need something that sits above that. And the way we're going to do that is to start with the recommendations in this report and then move on to make things happen that will really matter to our businesses. So the new council is going to be kicked off on the 14th of January. Bays very kindly will be hosting that in 1 Victoria Street. A number of us know and love that place. And you are all cordially invited. But it's invited to come up with an action plan building on the recommendations of this report and looking at what will really make a difference to help our businesses be stronger in the UK and helping make the UK stronger in a global environment. And with that, that's it. I hope you will join us, and I look forward to a new era of Electech under the excellent guidance of Alan and the Techworks team.
Thank you, Tony. We knew that this report was coming, and we knew that things were moving on, and with the plans that we have for Techworks in terms of expanding our reach, the great work that Tony's done, it was just a natural fit for Electech to take its next phase and become a Techworks community. So we will be taking that on. So I'd like to recognise all the hard work that Tony and his team have done, thank him for that. I'd like to thank him also for handing over all the assets free of charge. So that's a big thank you to us. But what we do have is we're not going to lose the data. We're not going to lose the learning that's gone on before through ESCO, through Electech. But what we are going to do is build on that and enhance it even further as part of a Techworks community as we grow. So hopefully what you've seen this afternoon is some idea of our vision as we continue to grow the communities, as we embrace the new technologies, and as we build on what's gone before us, and we build on the roadmaps that have been published recently by Zenzig, by Electech, by the Automotive Council, by the APC, and all these other roadmaps that are out there. Our job is to really make sure that all of those come together and we truly can deliver what we need to deliver to make this an absolutely fantastic industry to continue to work in. So thank you very much.